You might not know this, but I've had to make some tough decisions in my life. For example, when I decided to leave my country and leave my comfort zone in exchange for new challenges and a lot of struggle. Another difficult decision that I had to make was, should I open a business? Should I open my own business or should I work for someone else? Should I be in charge of my life or should I follow someone else's? Now, of course, those are my decisions. Your decisions are completely different, or they might be the same. Doesn't really matter. We all have to make tough and difficult decisions. The question is, how do we make them? How can we be sure that the decision we are making is the right one?
This is a Ryan Little production.
There are 7 questions that you should ask yourself in order to make sure that you're making the right decision. Those 7 questions are not really that difficult to answer, but most people don't even ask them. And the reason for why I decided on 7, by the way, is not because I believe that 7 is a magic number, but I do believe that the more you ask yourself questions and the deeper you go into your beliefs, the more you'll prove yourself that that belief is in fact beneficial because it survives the test of questioning, or you realize that that belief was a mere illusion, it was just a dream, and the more you questioned it and the more you challenged it, the more you saw that you couldn't really justify it. And if that's the case, you don't want to hold on to that belief, or so I say anyway. Alright, awesome. First question. The first question is fairly simple, but believe it or not, a lot of people don't ask it, which is, should I do this? So many times we decide to do things just out of, we have a dream or we have a desire, we maybe saw someone else do it, but we have to ask ourselves, should I do this? I'm not asking myself if it should be done, I'm not asking myself if it can be done, I'm asking myself, should I do that? And the reason for why that question is so important is because we don't have to do everything. Especially if you are of the creative kind, you will have 50,000 dreams and wishes and desires by the time you have breakfast. You don't have to hold on to every single one of those. So you need to start filtering those dreams, filtering those plans, and come up with actual substantial goals and objectives. So the first question is, should you do this? Should you embrace that dream, that challenge? If the answer is yes, then you must follow up with a different question. Remember, the goal here is to test the validity of your idea. So the second question is, why should I do this? Yes, it's easy to say yes or no when it comes to that first answer, should I do this? Yes, I should, or maybe I shouldn't. But if the answer is yes, I should do this because I really want to do this, well, then you should ask yourself and answer the question of why should you do it? What's motivating you to achieve or to pursue that idea? Is it money? Is it reputation? Is it personal fulfillment? What is it? Why do you want to do what do you want to do? If the answer satisfies you, then the third question is, how can I do it? How can it be done? This is when you become a little bit more strategic and you become a little bit more detail oriented. It's time to pinpoint what the plan is going to be, what the tactic will be, and how you will go about pursuing that idea in order to achieve what you want to achieve with it. Now the next question is super important because I truly believe that we have to pursue ideas that will cause a positive impact on people. So the next question is, what kind of impact will this cause on others? In other words, you have to value-proof your idea. You have to make sure that whatever idea, project, or dream/plan that you'd like to embrace produces positivity, produces value, or helps and benefits people around you. So ask yourself that question before you move forward. What kind of impact will this cause on people? If the answer is negative impact, because I'm just ripping them off and the idea is to just make money regardless of people's expectations, or if I provide value or whatever, then please don't pursue that idea. If the answer is, well, it doesn't really harm anyone, but it also doesn't help anyone, well, I would call that a hobby, not really a life project. Okay, so the next question is, what kind of impact will this cause on me? This is a fundamental one because so many of us have ideas, we would like to pursue them, we have a why, we know that it will impact people positively, but what if it kills you? What if it drains you out? What if it burns you out? What if you're just so tired that you can't really enjoy life, let alone that project that you've embraced? Don't get me wrong. It's great to develop endurance, it's great to develop a strong mindset, it's great to be willing to suffer through a project that you know is going to bring positive things upon people. But it also must be a project that you can experience, that you can enjoy, that you can, at the end of it, feel fulfilled and a sense of achievement. So ask yourself that question. What kind of impact will this cause on me? That might be financial impact, that might be emotional impact, that might be professional, personal, whatever. Try to find out and answer that question before you move on. Question number 6. What will I learn from this? That's a very important question, especially for me, because I'm obsessed about learning. So whenever I embrace a new project, I ask myself, what will I learn from this experience? Because not a lot of projects will be financially rewarding, but many projects will be a great educational experience. So ask yourself that question. What will I for sure learn by embracing this project? For example, if you want to join a new band, is that band playing a style of music that you're not too used to playing, and that's going to be a learning experience regardless of financial outcome? Or, for example, do you want to start a new business endeavor and you know that it will require you to get a little bit better at accounting and bookkeeping, and that's going to be a great learning experience that you can then leverage from? Those questions are important. Now, the last question is fundamental. If you want to be happy, if you want to feel fulfilled, if you want to do something that not only helps others but helps yourself, that brings positivity, that gives you rewards, that you're going to be able to pursue and develop and expand on for the next 10, 20, 30 years, then the last question must be answered, and must be answered honestly. So, let me tell you a story. When I started teaching drums, I was 19. I started teaching, at my mom's house. I had my little drum room there, and I thought, hey, I can teach some drums, maybe. I'd like to try that. And that moment was a decisive moment in my life for obvious reasons. Now, what motivated me back then wasn't, I'm gonna teach some drums because I can make some money. I didn't need to make money. I was still living at my mom's house, I was still studying. I didn't need to make money. I decided to try teaching drums because I enjoyed the idea of teaching. I enjoyed the idea of challenging myself. I enjoyed the idea of kind of putting myself out there and test my own knowledge to see if it was strong enough and solid enough. So I didn't start teaching because I had an agenda. I was just curious to see if I could do it. And that brings us to the last question. The 7th question that you should ask yourself before you take on a new project, before you embrace a new challenge. If you want to make a life decision, ask yourself all these questions. And most importantly, perhaps, this last question, which is, would you do it for free? Would you do whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to learn how to do, would you do that professionally but for free? In other words, it's not a hobby, but it's not a job either. It's a lifestyle. And you have to answer yourself this question if you want to be happy with the decision that you make. Would you do it for free? Because I know, and you know, that if I had all my expenses paid, if I had all my rents paid, if my son's food was taken care of, I would still teach for free. So ask yourself that question. Whatever you do, whatever you'd like to do, whatever career you'd like to embrace, would you go after that career? Would you go after that dream? Would you go after that project? For free, for no financial rewards whatsoever. Would you? I would. So, to recap, make sure you peel the onion and you go deep into your own beliefs to be absolute certain that that idea, project, or challenge that you'd like to embrace are worth pursuing. For you, for others, for your own future, for the present, everything. The more questions you ask, the better the chances are that you will find good answers. The first draft is okay, the first answer, the first question, but the real truth lies right there at the end of that rabbit hole of constant questioning. Remember, we all come up with stories, we all create our own narratives to justify what we do. We hate feeling lazy or guilty or whatever, so we come up with stories that explain exactly why we had to make the decisions we made and why we don't make the decisions that we should make. So, always try to shrink the gap between your perception of reality and reality itself. Between those two, in that gap, that's where learning lives. So my friends, go learn and ask questions.